I've been a doctor for 15 years, and I've never seen anything like this. Hey everyone, I'm Dr. Michael Reynolds, board-certified urologist with over 20 years practicing right here in the Midwest at a busy city hospital. In my line of work, you think you've seen it all. Rare congenital conditions, bizarre workplace accidents, objects that somehow ended up where they absolutely should not be, patients who tried every home remedy the internet could dream up. But the case I'm about to share with you is the one that still makes me pause, shake my head, and wonder how on earth it actually happened. This is the story I've only told a handful of close colleagues until today. If you're a physician, nurse, paramedic, ER tech, firefighter, police officer, anyone who's witnessed something on the job that made you go, "Wait, what?" Drop your profession in the comments and tell us your wildest true story. I read every single one. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Stories like this don't come around often. It was a Thursday morning, nothing special on the schedule. I'd just finished my first cup of coffee, scanned the day's patients, and was about to call in my 8:15 when my nurse Kate knocked lightly and leaned in the doorway with that look, the one that says, "Brace yourself." "Dr. Reynolds," she whispered, even though we were alone, "we've got a walk-in, male, mid-40s, very anxious. He's refusing to explain anything to triage, just keeps saying it's an emergency and he needs to see you right now. And he's walking kind of funny." I raised an eyebrow. Define funny. She hesitated, like he's trying to not move his hips at all, and he's holding a grocery bag really tightly against his stomach. In 20 years, you learn not to jump to conclusions, but something about the combination, the panic, the stiff gait, the mysterious bag set off every quiet alarm in my head. I told Kate to put him in exam room 3, the one with the extra privacy curtain, and I'd be there in 2 minutes. I washed my hands, pulled on a fresh pair of gloves, and walked down the hall, still thinking it was probably another swallowed foreign body, or maybe a bad case of priapism from some medication mix-up. Routine weirdness, nothing I couldn't handle before lunch. I knocked once, opened the door, and there he was. Average height guy in a gray hoodie and jeans, sitting on the edge of the table like it might bite him. Pale, sweating, eyes wide. The grocery bag sat beside him, paper handles twisted so hard the top was almost closed. "Good morning," I said, keeping my voice calm and even. "I'm Dr. Reynolds. Kate said you needed to see me urgently. Can you tell me what's going on?" He swallowed hard, glanced at the door like he expected someone to burst in, then looked back at me. "Doc, there's something stuck, and I think I made it a whole lot worse trying to fix it." That was the moment the ordinary Thursday tilted sideways.
I nodded slowly, keeping my face neutral the way years of practice have taught me. "Okay, take a slow breath and tell me exactly what's stuck, where it is, and how it got there. No judgment here, just facts, so I can help you." He stared at the floor for a long second, cheeks flushing red. Then he muttered, almost too quiet to hear, "It's a carrot in my, back there." I blinked once, twice. In 2 decades, I've removed coins, light bulbs, phone chargers, even a small action figure once. But a whole, fresh carrot? That was new territory. I kept my voice steady. "All right, how long has it been in there?" "Since last night," he said, wincing as he shifted. "Maybe 11, 12 hours. I don't know what I thought. It seemed like a good idea at the time. Then it disappeared completely. I can't feel the end of it anymore." That's when the grocery bag made sense. I glanced at it. "And what's in the bag?" He swallowed again. "Another carrot. The matching one. I figured if I pushed with something similar, maybe it would come back out. But I panicked halfway and stopped. Now I'm scared I made it go even deeper." I've trained myself not to react visibly, but inside, my brain was doing cartwheels. This wasn't just embarrassing, it was potentially dangerous. Rectoforeign bodies can perforate the bowel, cause massive infection, or require major surgery if they migrate too far. Time was not on our side. "Let's get you examined right now," I said. "We'll do it gently, with you in control of stopping if anything hurts. I need to see how far up it is and whether it's still within reach." He nodded, looking like a man heading to his own execution. I called Kate back in for a female chaperone, standard protocol, and we helped him onto his side, knees up toward his chest, the classic left lateral position. I gloved up again, lubed generously, and began the digital exam. The moment my finger made contact, I felt it. Smooth, firm, slightly tapered, lodged maybe 4 to 5 inches inside. Not in the rectum proper anymore. It had slipped past the rectosigmoid junction. That explained why he couldn't feel the end. It was higher than most people can reach themselves. I withdrew carefully and looked at him. Good news and bad news. The good news, it's still in the rectum sigmoid area, not free in the abdomen. The bad news, it's too high for me to grab manually, even with forceps in the office. We're going to need imaging and probably the OR to get it out safely. His face crumpled. Surgery? Like open surgery? Not if we're lucky, I reassured him. Most of the time we can retrieve these things with sedation and a scope, colonoscopy style, but under anesthesia so you're comfortable and we have full control. I'm calling radiology for an X-ray right now to confirm position and make sure there's no free air. As the Kate wheeled in the portable machine, that's when he finally met my eyes. "Doc, am I the weirdest patient you've ever had?" I gave him a small, honest smile. "You're definitely in the top 5, but trust me, people do stranger things than you'd ever believe. Right now, the only thing that matters is getting you fixed up and back home." The X-ray tech arrived, and that's when things got even more interesting. The portable X-ray machine hummed as the tech positioned the plate behind the patient. He stayed on his side, blanket draped for dignity, staring at the wall like it held the answers to life's biggest questions. I stepped out while they shot the films, standard protocol to limit exposure, and reviewed them on the viewer in the hallway 30 seconds later. There it was, crystal clear on the film, a long, tapered density sitting transversely in the distal sigmoid colon, about 15 to 18 centimeters from the anal verge. No obvious free air under the diaphragm, no obvious perforation signs. The carrot was intact, not broken into pieces, which was a small mercy. But its position confirmed what my finger had already told me. It had migrated upward during his panicked attempt to retrieve it with the second one. I walked back in, films in hand. Okay, here's the picture, literally. The carrot is higher than we'd like, sitting sideways in the sigmoid. That's why you can't feel it anymore. But the good news is there's no sign it's poked through the bowel wall. We caught this before it became a surgical emergency. He exhaled like he'd been holding his breath for hours. "So, no big operation?" "Probably not," I said. "We're going to try the least invasive route first. I'm calling the GI team for an urgent flexible sigmoidoscopy under sedation in the procedure room. They'll use a scope with tools to grab it and pull it out gently. If that doesn't work, and it usually does, we'll escalate to the OR for laparoscopic assistance. But most cases like this resolve in under an hour with the right equipment." He nodded, still pale. "How many cases like this do you see?" I chuckled softly. "Carrots, specifically, this is number 1. But foreign bodies, a handful a year. Bottles, vegetables, sex toys. People get creative when they're alone and curious. The key difference is most folks come in within a few hours before things migrate or swell. You waited overnight, which made it trickier, but you're still in a good spot." Kate returned with consent forms and started an IV for the sedation. While she worked, he finally opened up a little more. "I read something online," he admitted. "Thought it would be harmless, fun even. Then it slipped and I freaked out. Tried the second one as a pusher. Dumbest thing I've ever done."
I've heard variations of that story more times than I can count. Curiosity plus bad advice plus panic equals a very awkward ER visit. Hindsight's always 20/20, I told him. What matters now is we fix it and you learn from it. No lectures, just get you comfortable and out of here. They wheeled him to the procedure suite. I scrubbed in to assist, mostly for moral support, since the GI attending was handling the scope. Under light propofol sedation, the patient relaxed completely. The sigmoidoscopy slid in smoothly, camera feed lighting up the screen. And there it was, bright orange against pink mucosa, lodged like a stubborn cork. The attending maneuvered the snare loop around the wider end, tightened gently.
Tightened gently. The attending applied steady, controlled traction while I monitored the screen. The carrot began to slide downward smoothly, millimeter by millimeter. The mucosa looked healthy. No tears, no bleeding. The whole team stayed focused, coordinating every movement to avoid any sudden jerks. Seconds later, it emerged fully, the entire carrot, slightly softened from its time inside, but unbroken. We placed it in a specimen container for inspection. No fragments, no sharp ends that could have caused internal damage. A collective sigh of relief filled the room. The scope was withdrawn carefully, and the procedure wrapped up in under 20 minutes total. They reversed the sedation. As the patient blinked awake, still a bit dazed, I leaned in. "It's out," I said simply. "Everything went perfectly. No complications on the imaging or during retrieval. Your bowel looks fine." His eyes widened in disbelief. "Really? It's gone?" He shifted experimentally, then winced with residual soreness, but smiled for the first time that day. "I feel so much lighter already. Thank you, Doc. I thought this was going to ruin my life." We kept him for observation for a couple of hours, standard after sedation and any rectal intervention, IV fluids, pain meds as needed, and a quick repeat X-ray to confirm clearance. Everything checked out. I reviewed safe recovery instructions, plenty of fluids, light diet for a day or two, watch for fever or severe pain, and follow up in clinic next week. Before discharge, we had a quiet talk. "Look," I said, "I'm not here to embarrass you. Curiosity happens, but household items like that can migrate, swell, or cause serious injury. They're not designed for this. If something feels off, come in right away. Don't wait overnight. And please talk to a professional if you have questions about health or wellness. The internet isn't always your friend." He nodded, face still flushed. Lesson learned the hard way. I'll never do anything that stupid again. By late afternoon, he walked out on his own. Gait normal, grocery bag long discarded. Kate and I exchanged glances, the kind that say, "Another one for the books." From that day forward, I always warned people during routine visits. I added a gentle note to my patient education materials. Never insert any non-medical objects into the body, no matter what you read online. Food items especially can soften, break apart, or move upward unexpectedly, leading to exactly these kinds of emergencies. I emphasize prevention because one awkward moment can turn into a hospital visit fast. That case stuck with me because it was so preventable. It reminded me how human we all are. Even doctors make mistakes in life, though hopefully not this variety. Patients trust us with their most private concerns, and we owe them honesty, skill, and zero judgment. But even after all that, there was one final twist I didn't see coming. About a week later, during my usual afternoon clinic, Kate handed me the next chart with a knowing smile. "Room 4, she said. "Your carrot guy is back for follow-up." I raised an eyebrow. "Already? He was supposed to come next week." "He insisted on coming early," she replied. "Says he has something important to tell you." I walked in expecting routine post-procedure questions. Any pain, bleeding, bowel habits? Instead, he sat there looking completely different, relaxed, almost cheerful, wearing a clean button-down instead of the hoodie from before. No grocery bag this time. "Doc," he started right away, "I owe you more than just a thank you.
After I got home, I couldn't stop thinking about how close I came to real trouble. I decided to do something useful with the experience instead of burying it. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small, neatly folded piece of paper. It was a handwritten letter, addressed to me, but clearly meant to be shared. "I wrote this for your waiting room binder," he said, "the one with patient stories and safety tips. I didn't sign my name, just a grateful patient. Feel free to read it out loud or print copies. Maybe it'll stop someone else from making the same mistake." I unfolded it. The letter was short, honest, and surprisingly articulate. "To anyone reading this, I recently visited this office because I did something incredibly stupid. I inserted a vegetable where it never belonged, thinking it was harmless fun. It got stuck, I panicked, tried to fix it myself, and nearly caused serious injury. Thanks to Dr. Reynolds and his team, I avoided surgery and learned a hard lesson. Please never experiment with food, household objects, or anything not made for medical use. If something feels wrong, come in immediately. Embarrassment fades, complications don't. You're not alone, and the staff here truly cares. Be safe." I looked up. "This is really thoughtful. You didn't have to do this." "I wanted to," he said. "You treated me like a person, not a punchline. That meant everything. And honestly, writing it down helped me process it. I feel lighter in more ways than one now." We finished the follow-up, everything healing perfectly, no issues, and he left with a firm handshake. I added the letter to our patient education folder that same day. Since then, I've seen at least 3 patients glance at it, read quietly, and then ask very careful questions about safe practices. One even admitted they'd been curious, but changed their mind after seeing the note. That single carrot became more than a memorable case. It turned into a quiet teaching tool, a reminder that vulnerability and kindness can prevent harm far better than any lecture. I still tell the story, carefully anonymized, when I train residents, not to mock, but to emphasize compassion, speed, and prevention. So, if you're watching this and you've ever hesitated to seek help because you're embarrassed, don't. We've seen it before, we'll see it again, and we'll help without judgment. Your health is worth more than a moment of awkwardness. Thanks for sticking with me through all 5 parts. If this helped or made you smile, drop a like, share your own wild work story below, and subscribe for more real-life lessons from the front lines of medicine. Stay safe out there. Dr. Michael Reynolds, signing off.